Today we're going to be talking about 3 basic reasons your offers may not be getting accepted. So since I'm licensed in 46 states as a mortgage lender, I see everything. And I've been very lucky over the years to form relationships with some very talented listing agents. And I recently spoke with them with, hey guys, look, how can we help our buyers have a better chance? Of course, if they're cash and they're offering $100,000 over the list price, of course they're going to get the house. But in situations where that's not happening, what are you guys seeing that's making you throw offers away? And here's what I got. Here are the 3 most important things that a listing agent is doing. Number 1, they're looking at the contract. So what really shocked me is one of the gals I talked to, she's like, Jen, you would fall over backwards if you saw how many agents didn't fully fill out the contract or properly fill out the contract. And I was like, seriously? She's like, yeah, it's ridiculous. We have to call them and be like, hey, you missed paragraph XYZ. Do you want, what are you trying to do with contingencies? Or, if a listing agent has to call your agent to get more details on your offer because the contract was not fully filled out, you are toast if you're in a competitive situation, okay? The listing agent, because beyond the fact of it's more work for the listing agent, it's also a tell to the listing agent that your realtor is going to be difficult to work with. No one wants to do the job of the other realtor. And as a lender, I hear that all the time. I hear, yeah, I'm doing the job of the buyer's agent and my job because the buyer's agent's incompetent. And I'm like, yeah, I know, because when that stuff happens, it's also falling on the lender because we're sitting there trying to talk you off a cliff every day because your realtor's doing ridiculous stuff. So the key thing is going to be is that as a buyer, often people just sign whatever the realtor gives them. You've built a relationship with them. Most realtors are charming. They're people person. You trust them. For the love of God, guys, read the contract. Read the contract. First of all, you need to read the contract so you understand the terms. If I had $1 for every person that's like, wait, that means that, I would be rich and retired, okay? And then also look to make sure everything's filled out because you don't want to lose a dream house because your realtor skipped a paragraph. Seriously. It's not worth it. And if they go, oh, that doesn't have to be filled out. Okay, well, why doesn't that have to be filled out? The other thing is this is a legally binding contract. So you need to understand it. And also it needs to be filled out properly because in some circumstances, if boxes are missed, it hurts you. Okay, so number 1, contract filled out fully and properly. If the listing agent is Sally, goodness sakes, on the contract where it says listing agent, hopefully they put Sally. Seriously, that stuff happens. Okay, also towns. I had one recently where I was like, they have the wrong city in here. Am I missing something? And they're like, oh, yeah, no, they just wrote that wrong. Okay, if they can't even put the address in wrong, what does that tell the listing agent? It tells the listing agent this is going to be a headache. Okay, number 2, fantastical offers. What is a fantastical offer? It's a fantasy offer. It's not real. So what would that be? Let's say the house is listed at $400 and you offer $550 and you're like, I'm going to get it. I'm offering $550. Well, unless you waived the appraisal and you said you were willing to pay the difference between appraised value and purchase price, that is a fantasy offer. Okay, a listing agent's going to look at that and say, okay, well, I listed it at $400 because it's probably going to have comparable sales at $400, maybe $410. So if they're saying $550, but it has to appraise at $550, everybody knows it's not going to. This is a game. And I see realtors coaching their clients to do this. They go, oh, we'll just offer a ton. And then if the appraisal comes in, we'll negotiate them down. And if we can't negotiate them down, we'll just back out. Guys, listing agents aren't dumb. They know what you're doing. They don't want to play these games because the thing is like, if you're like, well, they'll want the highest amount too. Yeah, they want the highest amount too, but they live in reality because if they tell a seller, hey, you've got an offer at $550, it's going to appraise at $550, the seller's going to cash that money in their mind. And if it appraises at $410 and you can't bridge the difference, the seller's not going to be mad at you. They're going to be mad at their agent. That's going to affect their agent's ability to get future referrals sales, ability to list more houses. It can be very damaging. It is the listing agent's job to get the strongest, most realistic offer for their seller. So if you have a realtor who is coaching you to write fantasy land offers, you may lose the house just because of that. Seriously, I have seen offers get accepted that were not the highest offer because they were based in reality. And that's the thing. We want, and the agents want, happy sellers, happy buyers. How do you do that? By having an offer that can close to the terms projected. Now, if your response to this is, I'll just waive appraisal. Guys, don't waive appraisal unless you can afford the difference. If you can't afford the difference, all you're gonna do is risk your earnest money. That's it. So waiving appraisal without money in the bank is the biggest joke I've ever seen. Once again, the listing agents can catch you on that. They will ask for proof of funds. When you have no proof of funds, once again, your offer was fantasy land, okay? Number 3, how is your agent presenting the offer? Yeah, so I was shocked by this as well. So I was talking to one gal and she was saying, yeah, like I'll get 6 offers and like 1 or 2 will have reached out. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, they just email them to me. I'm like, seriously? They're just emailing you offers without calling or reaching out or establishing some sort of, yep. Okay. Here's the thing. The listing agent has to present all these offers to their seller. So if they have 6 offers, let's say one's at 500 and one's at 505. Let's say on the 500 one, it's Becky. Becky has called the listing agent. She's talked about the borrower. She's talked about how the borrower loves the house, how it's the same school district their daughter goes in now, why they want the house, you know, what the offer entails, gone over the terms of the offer, made sure everything's comfortable, checked in with the listing agent about, hey, you know, do your sellers want to close sooner or later? We have some sort of flex. We want to make sure we write this offer to be as accommodating as possible, okay? Right? The lender, let's say I'm the lender, I've called as well and I've said, hey, they're fully underwritten. You know, we already have reviewed credit income. I just need an appraisal and prelim. This is a slam dunk. Okay? So they have that. And then let's say they have an offer for 505, but they haven't heard from anyone. I mean, you may think, well, they'll go with the 505. Not necessarily, because here's the thing. Once again, the listing agent's job is to close the house for the seller with as little pain as possible. If you have a known entity versus just an offer that was submitted, these offers that are just being submitted with no one reaching out, no one, you know, illustrating why, they're a risk right now because there's so many agents and buyers writing 20 offers at a time. Seriously, there was one agent that was writing offers before the borrower even saw the house, like 6 at a time. So as a seller, you want to make sure that you pick an offer that's serious. As a listing agent, you want to make sure you give an offer to your seller that's serious, because if you go, oh, well, this one's higher, let's just take it, and they go, oh, well, actually, you are our 18th choice. We're already in contract on something else. That looks bad to the seller, okay? And if the listing agent's having to reach out and your agent isn't calling back, your realtor, that's a problem as well. So you really need to understand that beyond the offer, being a realtor, it's a sales job, okay? They're not just selling you a house. They're selling you to the listing agent and to the seller. That is their job in this market. It is not just the house, it is not just the contract, it is the perception of you to the seller and the listing agent. Okay, so very important. So these were the 3 big things that I thought were so actionable, right? This doesn't cost you money to do any of this. This is just good common sense. If your realtor says they don't want to reach out to listing agents, that they're uncomfortable with that, I would strongly advise looking at someone who is more comfortable chatting with other realtors, because the bottom line is people want to work with people that they trust and people that they're comfortable with. And if you're just a piece of paper with numbers, you know, they don't know if you're going to close. But if they know that you're vested in that house and you definitely want that house, and your lender's calling and the realtor's calling and the dog groomer's calling, you know, they know you're vested. So you're a sure thing. And that's what listing agents want, a sure thing. So thanks so much for watching. If you guys had your offers accepted and you did anything different, please share it. If you have any thoughts or feelings about this, as always, I am licensed in 46 states as a mortgage lender. I love doing loans. I love talking about loans. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Thanks for watching.